everyone, it's Dr. DeCubellis from Main Street Chiropractic, and today I'm joined with Beth from Happy Dog Barkery right here in downtown Downers Grove. So Beth, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I wanted to have them because if you have been in Downers Grove, you have to have seen them, if not been into their store. They offer some unique things, so I wanted to kind of interview her so we get a little bit more on their backstory and what they offer. So first, tell me, why Downers Grove?
Well, we love Downers. I moved here, I don't even want to say how many years ago, but I first lived in an apartment, then I ended up buying my house here in Downers, and I would walk my dogs down here on Main Street, and I just knew that this was a dog-loving community, and I just love Downers as a whole. The people are extra nice, and I grew up on the south side, and it's just kind of a different world here, and I just loved everybody I met, and I loved everything that it had to offer.
Yeah, it definitely is. I agree with that. And then now, how many years have you been in the current location?
17 years. April was our 17th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So you've seen a lot of changes in the downtown area over those.
Yes, we have. Yes, it's funny to be one of the older businesses as opposed to one of the new ones.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about kind of what you guys offer, because I know what you do offers a little bit unique. So tell me a little bit about the bakery portion.
The bakery is definitely what sets us apart. It's our niche among dog stores, because you can go anywhere to buy dog things, but you can't go and buy what we do in the store. We bake. We started out as a bakery, well, I don't want to say primarily, but it was a big chunk of the business, and it just has grown and grown and grown. And we bake cookies, we make stews for the dogs, and we make soft things, but our biggest part is our dog birthday cakes. And people come from all over Chicagoland just to get a birthday cake for their dog because we make them custom for each dog.
Nice. So let's extrapolate on that a little bit. So when it comes to, like, let's say the cookies and things, are those something people can walk in and buy, or do they have to call ahead and order?
No, we have a full bakery case, 2 dry cases, a cold case for some soft things. Liver cake, which is a beef liver and garbanzo beef flour, is our #1 treat out of everything we do, and all the dogs that visit get that treat. I kind of call it liver crack sometimes, and they all know, the dogs learn very quickly that they get that treat. So that's a cold one. It's like a brownie, and it's a specialty of ours.
Nice. Now, when it comes to the birthday cakes, though, those I'm assuming they have to kind of order ahead.
You do have to order, but we always have display cakes in the case. We have learned that not a lot of people, sometimes you forget about it or you just want a last minute thing. So we always have displays available. You just don't get a number of choices or flavors that you might get if you pre-order.
Okay, nice. And now when it comes to, like, the pre-ordering, how much time do you like to ask for just to be safe?
48 hours is the easiest, because especially for flavors that might not be as popular, because they're baked fresh every day.
That sounds good. Now, tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've maybe noticed in the last year. I'm assuming, obviously maybe some of the foot traffic and stuff was a little change over the last couple of months. But how has it been with, like, people coming in and get treats for the dogs, because people love their dogs?
They do love their dogs. We were closed for about 10 weeks for curbside only. We're essential because people still have to buy dog food. So we weren't probably hit as hard as other places. People still had to come in to get the treats. You may not be able to go to Disney World, but you can make your dog happy by going to get him some liver cake at Happy Dog.
Right. Now, with that too, did you just kind of stop doing a lot of the display stuff when that was happening, or did you still try to do it so people could see, or what kind of changed business-wise?
Well, in our display case, it just wasn't full. We filled all the orders off our overflow racks, and we just didn't have to worry about keeping that as neat for those 10 weeks. But as soon as we reopened the doors, people were ready to come back in.
So now let me ask you this too, because again, people love their dogs. So how many times has someone walked in and they say, you know what, I'm coming in just for this, and then their dog finds something they really, really like, and they're like, well, I got to get this for them too?
Oh, that happens occasionally, especially on some of the stuff that are lower that the dog can grab, and then the dog just sits down and eats it, and so they bring up the price tag, and the treat is already gone.
Now tell me a little bit about the different kinds of food, because I know you have different options, and some more options than most have. So walk me through a little bit about the types of dog food that you guys have. Yeah,
we have a huge selection. People don't understand how big we are when they walk in. So we have a very large selection, all natural foods. From a kibble based, but a higher level of ingredients, all U.S. source, sometimes Canada. So that's your base kibble. Then we have the next step up, which is a dehydrated or a freeze-dried food, which is a little bit healthier for the dog. And then you have the raw dog food, which a lot of people sometimes aren't sure about, but it is the closer the dogs get their food in the natural form, the better it is for them. So you'll see commercials for some of the newer fresh foods. We make stuff like that. So the dogs prefer something closer to its natural form than a little bowl of dried pellets. So we always try to make that bowl, if that's the staple of the diet, make it a little healthier. And that could be adding goat's milk, it can be adding raw dog food, it could be adding bone broth, all sorts of options like that.
Okay, now let me ask you this, when we start talking about some of these other things, what is maybe the shelf life of maybe either the raw food or some of those additives? How does that work? Are they refrigerated? They frozen? Can you walk me through how we need to keep them in our house before we give them to our pets?
Sure, most of it's frozen. Like all the raw is going to be a frozen food. So you just take either in patties or nuggets or some type of form, and you just take out what you need to thaw for that day. A lot of people will take out the following days out of the freezer. You put that in the fridge, and next day it's ready to go. And then when you have like the goat's milk, they're just in the cartons, like a 16 ounce, 32 ounce, and they vary. Some might be as short as 3 days, some might be as long as 21 days.
Okay. Now, another question that I know people probably have, when let's say we go from a dry dog food and we go to a raw, does it change the portion size they need because of the amount of nutrients and protein?
It does, and raw is very moisture dense. You get hardly any moisture in a kibble, and so the after effects, they're going to poop a lot less in a raw diet because it's mostly the moisture, and you're not getting all the carbs and the fillers that are required for a kibble, because you have to have that to hold that piece of food together. In a raw food, it's just that. It's raw food. You don't have the flours or anything like that. It's meat, it's organs, it's fruits and vegetables, and whatever vitamins and minerals. So that's a good side effect. Another side effect is the dogs don't drink as much water. So sometimes if somebody switches to an all raw diet, they're like, my dog's not drinking, because it doesn't need as much water, because they're getting most of their moisture from the food, and that is very important for a dog and a cat too.
Interesting. So it ends up being almost more cost effective because they're getting way more vitamins and nutrients. They're not having to eat as much, and they're also not getting all the processed different things as well. So it's just healthier all around.
Healthier all around. The dog is healthier, and then they have less, hopefully, vet bills when you're talking ear infections or food allergies or anything like that.
Now let me ask you this: when someone goes in, we see in the grocery store they've got like 50-pound bags of dog food because it's dry and it can be stored for long periods. If someone was to go in and let's say they wanted to switch to raw or wanted to go 100% raw diet for their dog, what typically is the what amounts do they typically buy? Do they buy like a 1-week supply, 2-week supply? What do they usually get for their dog to be fed?
Well, it depends. Some people will buy a whole freezer specifically for their dog food. That's few and far between. But they come in, a lot of people do raw as an add-on, so they can get a 5-pound bag, but they'll come in bulk boxes. So it's usually about a 2-week, I would say, supply. Usually if you're going to do that, boxes can come anywhere from 9 pounds up to 20 pounds, and it just kind of depends on the manufacturer. And so if you're doing a lot, you'll buy a box like that, and you always have to make sure there's room in the freezer for it.
Okay. Now, another question on raw, and this will be my last question.
Sure, you're fine.
So the other thing that we see when we go to dog food stores, they've got their food, and they've got them also separated by like puppy, adult, and older age. Does that change with the type of food they would get raw by their age or any of that stuff, or is raw pretty much raw?
Raw is pretty much raw. There are some that may be better for a puppy or better for an older dog. Just depends on the fat balance and all of that, but they don't specifically have puppy or senior or weight management. Raw is raw, and it's just really good for the dog.
So that makes it easier.
Yes.
You don't have to keep switching foods and all this other
Exactly.
stuff. You just get the one, you stick with it, they like it, and it makes it...
Well, not to stick with it. We like to promote rotation as well in the food.
Okay.
They always talked about don't ever switch your dog's food because it's going to have all sorts of issues. Well, it has issues because you never switch the food. And it's just healthier to get an all-around diet like we would if you don't want to eat oatmeal every day for your life, and then you eat a piece of pizza and you have an issue. But this way they're getting all sorts of different proteins, different vitamins, different minerals, different vegetables based on whatever manufacturer is doing them. So variety is a key. We'd love to rotate food.
Now, will you be able to help people out with that?
Yes.
Okay, because I know suggestions would be very helpful, especially if someone like me coming in and doing and switching all to raw, and if we want to rotate, we don't want their heads to explode.
Exactly. We try and keep it easy, especially if you start researching it. It gets overwhelming very quickly. So we can help you with your specific dog and make recommendations for that.
That sounds awesome. You combine that with the bakery portion. I mean, very unique things that you guys offer, and so conveniently located, right walking distance from my office, which is great too.
There you go. Yep.
But let me ask you this: is there anything we haven't talked about that you would like to mention before we end it?
Well, I do like to talk about our rescue work at the stores too. My personal mission is to support the local dog shelters, our rescues. My husband and I have fostered well over 100 dogs, so they stay with us while they're waiting for a home. And so every purchase we donate regularly to West Suburban is one of our, Humane Society is one of our favorites, Midwest Brew, My Beagle Rescue, and we donate, we have rescues of the month, we have rescue meet and greets. It's just an important part of my mission.
That's great. Now, how can people get more information about that side as well?
That's just, you come in and we start talking about it. And,
Awesome.
you know, any rescue, if they want to adopt a Shiba Inu, if they want to adopt a lab, we can help point them to directions that way.
That's great. And I know, like, rescues have, I was reading something a few weeks ago, and they said that, you know, during COVID, there was a lot of dogs being rescued. But the really great thing about that statistic is that the percentage of dogs returned was almost zero.
Yeah,
which is huge.
Yeah, so it's amazing. When rescues have problems, getting dogs into adopt is a good part.
Yes, yes, it's great, and we're getting dogs adopted. It's great, and I'm glad you guys are helping out with that too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming out. They're right in downtown Downers Grove. I'm going to have the contact information below. You know, walk in, say hi. They've got great stuff. They've got great knowledge, as you've seen. They can help you out with any questions you have. So, Beth, thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.